The sun was setting over the small coastal town of Willow Bay, casting a golden glow across the calm ocean. Life here moved slowly, almost lazily. Fishermen returned to shore with their day's catch. Children laughed as they played on the sandy beach, and families gathered under umbrellas for picnics. It was a place where everyone knew each other, where life felt safe and predictable. But even in such a peaceful town, fate sometimes chose to intervene. Marcus Kane lived alone in a modest house near the edge of the water. He wasn't particularly remarkable, at least not to those who didn't know him well. To most people, he was just another face in the crowd, a quiet man who spent his days fishing or fixing boats at the local marina. But beneath his unassuming exterior lay a heart full of courage and kindness. Marcus had always believed in doing what was right, no matter how difficult it might be. Little did he know, this belief would soon thrust him into extraordinary circumstances. On that particular afternoon, Marcus decided to take a walk along the shoreline after finishing work at the marina. The air smelled salty and fresh, and the sound of waves crashing against the rocks filled the silence. As he strolled, he noticed a group of children playing close to the jagged rocks that jutted out into the sea. They were laughing and splashing in the shallow water, completely unaware of the danger lurking beneath the surface. The tide was rising fast, and the current around the rocks was notoriously strong. At first, Marcus thought about calling out to warn them, but hesitated. Maybe he was overreacting. After all, kids played there all the time without incident. Still, something about the scene made him uneasy. He stopped walking and watched closely, his instincts telling him trouble was imminent. And then it happened. A sudden wave surged forward, knocking one of the younger boys off his feet. In an instant, the boy disappeared beneath the churning water. Without thinking twice, Marcus sprinted toward the rocks, adrenaline coursing through his veins. By the time he reached the edge of the water, 2 more children had been swept away by the powerful current. Panic spread among the remaining kids as they screamed for help. Without hesitation, Marcus dove into the icy water, fighting against the relentless pull of the tide. His muscles burned with effort, but he pushed forward, determined to save every child he could. Reaching the first boy, Marcus grabbed him firmly and pulled him toward the shore. Gasping for breath, he deposited the frightened child onto dry land before turning back to the water. The second child was farther out now, struggling desperately to stay afloat. Summoning every ounce of strength, Marcus swam harder than ever, before finally reaching her just as she began sinking beneath the waves. With one arm wrapped tightly around her waist, he kicked furiously toward safety. By the time he rescued the third child, Marcus was utterly exhausted. His arms felt like lead and his lungs burned as if they were on fire. Collapsing onto the sand, he lay there for several minutes, trying to catch his breath while the grateful children huddled nearby, tears streaming down their faces. Parents arrived shortly afterward, rushing to embrace their children and thank Marcus profusely. Some even offered money or gifts, but Marcus politely declined. "I just did what anyone else would have done," he said simply, brushing off their praise. Word of his heroic act spread quickly throughout Willow Bay. For days, people couldn't stop talking about how Marcus had risked his own life to save 3 children from certain death. Yet despite the attention, Marcus remained humble. He continued going about his daily routine as if nothing unusual had happened, though deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was about to change. That sense of foreboding grew stronger when, a few days later, a stranger arrived in town. No one recognized him. He wore strange clothing that seemed out of place in Willow Bay, a long coat made of some shimmering material, boots unlike anything sold in local stores, and gloves that gleamed faintly in the sunlight. His appearance drew curious stares wherever he went, but he paid no mind to the whispers. Instead, he asked around until he found Marcus. When the stranger approached Marcus outside the marina, his piercing blue eyes locked onto him with an intensity that sent shivers down Marcus's spine. "You are Marcus Kane?" the man asked, his voice smooth yet commanding. "Yes," Marcus replied cautiously. "Who wants to know?" "My name is Elias," the stranger said. I've come to give you something. From inside his coat, he produced a small object shaped like a teardrop. It looked metallic but glowed faintly, emitting a soft hum when touched. Handing it to Marcus, Elias added cryptically, "You saved lives. This belongs to you now." Stunned, Marcus accepted the mysterious item, turning it over in his hands. "What is it?" he asked, frowning. Elias merely smiled enigmatically. "You'll understand soon enough," he said before walking away, disappearing into the crowd as quickly as he had appeared. For hours afterward, Marcus stared at the peculiar device, unable to shake the feeling that his life had taken a turn he couldn't yet comprehend. Whatever this object was, it clearly wasn't ordinary. And as night fell over Willow Bay, Marcus realized that his quiet existence was about to be shattered forever. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. The strange object Elias had given him sat on the table in his small living room, glowing faintly and humming softly as if it were alive. It was unlike anything Marcus had ever seen before, and the more he stared at it, the more questions swirled in his mind. Who was Elias? Where did this thing come from, and why had it been given to him? Curiosity got the better of him. He picked up the teardrop-shaped device and held it closer, examining its smooth surface under the dim light of a nearby lamp. As soon as his fingers brushed against it again, something extraordinary happened. The hum grew louder, and a blinding flash of white light filled the room. Instinctively, Marcus shielded his eyes with one hand, but when he opened them seconds later, he realized he was no longer in his house. Instead, he found himself standing in what appeared to be an enormous spaceship. The walls shimmered with colors that shifted like liquid rainbows, and the air smelled clean yet unfamiliar. Surrounding him were tall, slender beings with luminous skin that glowed faintly in the low light. Their eyes were large and almond-shaped, and their elongated limbs moved gracefully as they observed him silently. They didn't speak, not with words anyway, but Marcus could hear voices inside his head, gentle and soothing, speaking directly into his thoughts. "Welcome, Marcus Kane," the voice said. We are the Lumini." Marcus froze, his heart pounding in his chest. Was this real? Had he lost his mind? Or was this some elaborate dream brought on by exhaustion after days of restless nights? Before he could process what was happening, the voices continued. "You have shown great courage and selflessness," the Lumini explained. "Your actions caught our attention. You saved lives without hesitation, even at great personal risk. Such qualities are rare among your kind." Still struggling to comprehend the situation, Marcus managed to stammer, What are you? Why am I here?" "We are Watchers," the Lumini replied. "For centuries we have observed Earth, fascinated by humanity's resilience and creativity despite its flaws. But now a grave threat approaches. A hostile alien race known as the Krylos. They see Earth as expendable and plan to harvest its resources, enslaving or destroying any who stand in their way. We cannot intervene directly, but we believe you can help unite humanity against this danger." The weight of their words hit Marcus like a ton of bricks. Aliens? Hostile invaders? This sounded like something out of a science fiction movie, not his ordinary life in Willow Bay. Yet the evidence was undeniable. He was standing aboard a spaceship surrounded by otherworldly beings who spoke telepathically. If they weren't lying, and he had no reason to think they were, then Earth was in serious trouble. "What do you want me to do?" Marcus asked hesitantly. "I'm just a regular guy. How can I possibly fight aliens?" The Lumini exchanged silent glances before responding. "You underestimate yourself, Marcus. Courage is not measured by strength alone, but by the willingness to act when others hesitate. We will provide you with tools and knowledge to aid you in this mission. Trust us, you are capable of far more than you realize." As if on cue, one of the Lumini stepped forward, holding another device, a sleek gauntlet made of the same shimmering material as the teardrop. Gently, they placed it around Marcus's wrist. The moment it clicked into place, warmth spread through his arm, followed by a surge of energy that coursed through his entire body. Suddenly, images flooded his mind. Complex diagrams, symbols, and instructions for using advanced technology. It was overwhelming, but somehow, He understood it all instinctively. "This gauntlet will allow you to interface with our technology," the Lumini explained. "It will enhance your abilities and grant you access to powers beyond human comprehension. Use it wisely." Before Marcus could ask any more questions, the scene dissolved once again. In the blink of an eye, he was back in his living room, sitting on the edge of his chair with the teardrop resting in his palm. For a moment he wondered if the entire experience had been a hallucination. But the gauntlet firmly attached to his wrist proved otherwise. Over the next few days, Marcus experimented cautiously with the new device. At first, he tried simple things like activating the glowing patterns etched into its surface. To his astonishment, the gauntlet responded instantly, projecting beams of light and creating protective barriers that shimmered like glass. Encouraged by these discoveries, he ventured further, testing its capabilities in secret. One evening, while practicing in an abandoned field outside town, Marcus accidentally triggered a feature he hadn't anticipated. With a flick of his wrist, the ground beneath him began to tremble slightly, and a faint blue aura enveloped his body. Startled, he took a step forward and levitated several inches off the ground. Panic gripped him briefly as he flailed his arms, trying to regain control. After a few awkward moments, he managed to lower himself back down, breathing heavily. Despite the initial shock, Marcus couldn't deny the thrill of wielding such incredible power. He practiced tirelessly, mastering basic functions like levitation, energy projection, and shielding. Each success boosted his confidence, though he remained cautious. Whatever the Lumini expected of him, he knew he wasn't ready yet. There was still so much he didn't understand. Meanwhile, whispers of strange occurrences began spreading throughout Willow Bay. Fishermen reported seeing unusual lights hovering over the ocean at night. Farmers claimed their crops glowed faintly during full moons. Even tourists visiting the area mentioned spotting strange figures moving too quickly to be human. Though none of these events could be directly linked to Marcus, he couldn't shake the feeling that his actions might already be drawing attention. Then came the day everything changed. While walking through town, Marcus noticed a commotion near the docks. A fishing boat had capsized during a sudden storm, leaving several people stranded in the turbulent waters. Without thinking, Marcus rushed to the scene, slipping on the gauntlet, discreetly beneath his jacket. When rescue teams struggled to reach the victims due to the violent waves, Marcus stepped forward. "I'll go," he announced firmly, ignoring the protests of those around him. Stripping off his shoes, he dove into the churning sea, activating the gauntlet's protective barrier as he went. The force of the waves battered him relentlessly, but the shield held strong, allowing him to swim faster and farther than humanly possible. One by one, he pulled the stranded sailors to safety, defying both physics and logic in the process. By the time the last survivor was safely ashore, the crowd gathered on the dock erupted into cheers. News cameras captured every moment, broadcasting footage of Marcus's heroic feat across the region. Overnight, he became a local celebrity, hailed as a miracle worker whose mysterious abilities had saved countless lives. Reporters flocked to Willow Bay, eager to uncover the truth behind his powers. Some speculated he was part of a secret government experiment, while others suggested supernatural explanations. But fame brought complications. Government agents arrived within days, demanding answers about how Marcus had accomplished such feats. Military officials offered lucrative deals in exchange for demonstrations of his abilities, while conspiracy theorists accused him of being an alien spy. Despite the pressure, Marcus refused to reveal the truth about the Lumini or the Gauntlet. Instead, he used his newfound platform to spread a message of unity and hope. "These gifts were given to me for a reason," Marcus told reporters during an impromptu press conference. "They're not meant to divide us, but to remind us of what we're capable of when we work together. Humanity has always faced challenges, but we've overcome them because we stand united. That's the lesson I want everyone to take away." Though his words resonated with many, skepticism lingered. Critics dismissed him as a fraud, while others feared the implications of his powers. Yet amidst the chaos, Marcus remained steadfast. He knew the real test was still ahead, the looming threat of the Krylos invasion. and though he didn't know exactly how or when it would happen, he vowed to prepare humanity for the battle of its lifetime. Little did he realize, however, that the Lumini's warning wasn't just about defending Earth. It was also about discovering the true potential hidden within humanity itself. As Marcus continued to navigate the growing attention surrounding him, he realized that his newfound abilities were only part of a much larger puzzle. The Lumini had entrusted him with their advanced technology for a reason: to prepare humanity for the coming storm. But how could one man unite an entire planet against a threat no one even believed existed? It was a daunting task, but Marcus knew he couldn't do it alone. He needed allies, believers who shared his vision and were willing to fight for the future of Earth. The first step was proving to the world that there was more to reality than met the eye. While some dismissed his powers as tricks or illusions, others began to take notice. Scientists, curious about the energy fields emitted by the gauntlet, reached out to study its effects. Engineers marveled at the intricate designs embedded within the device, comparing them to nothing ever seen before. Even skeptics found themselves intrigued when demonstrations revealed undeniable truths. Objects levitated without strings, force fields blocked bullets, and wounds healed almost instantly under Marcus's touch. But technical marvels weren't enough to sway everyone. Many governments viewed Marcus with suspicion, fearing his influence could destabilize global power structures. Military leaders wanted to weaponize his abilities, while corporate giants saw opportunities for profit. To counter these threats, Marcus decided to focus on grassroots efforts instead. He traveled across continents, visiting remote villages, bustling cities, and war-torn regions alike, spreading a message of unity and hope. In each location, Marcus showcased the Gauntlet's capabilities, not as tools of destruction, but as symbols of possibility. In India, he helped farmers irrigate barren fields using water pulled from thin air. In Africa, he provided clean drinking water to drought-stricken communities by purifying polluted rivers. In Europe, he assisted rescue teams during natural disasters, saving lives trapped beneath rubble. Everywhere he went, people witnessed miracles firsthand, igniting a spark of belief in something greater than themselves. Yet not all reactions were positive. Conspiracy theorists accused Marcus of orchestrating elaborate hoaxes, while religious extremists condemned him as a harbinger of doom. Some labeled him a fraud seeking fame, while others feared he might be the beginning of an alien takeover. Despite the backlash, Marcus pressed on, driven by the knowledge that time was running out. His journey took a dramatic turn when he uncovered ancient secrets buried deep beneath the Earth's surface. Guided by cryptic visions sent through the Gauntlet, Marcus ventured into forgotten caves and ruins hidden across the globe. What he discovered defied explanation, remnants of advanced civilizations predating recorded history. These relics hinted at a time when humanity possessed technologies rivaling those of the Lumini, only to lose them due to hubris and conflict. Among the artifacts was a massive stone tablet etched with symbols identical to those projected by the Gauntlet. When Marcus touched it, the tablet lit up, revealing holographic images of star maps, architectural blueprints, and instructions for constructing machines capable of harnessing cosmic energy. It became clear that humanity's ancestors had once been far more advanced than modern society gave them credit for. They had built great cities powered by sustainable resources, created devices enabling interstellar travel, and established peaceful alliances with extraterrestrial beings. However, greed and division ultimately led to their downfall. Wars erupted over control of these technologies, culminating in catastrophic events that wiped out entire populations. The survivors regressed, losing access to the knowledge and tools that had elevated them. Over millennia, stories of their achievements faded into myths and legends, dismissed as mere fantasy by later generations. Armed with this revelation, Marcus understood why the Lumini had chosen him. Humanity wasn't defenseless, it simply needed reminding of its true potential. With the help of trusted allies, including scientists, engineers, and historians, Marcus began reconstructing the ancient technologies. Together, they designed, Prototypes inspired by the relics, combining human ingenuity with Luminae advancements. Solar-powered drones capable of monitoring vast areas, cloaking devices rendering vehicles invisible, and energy weapons strong enough to disable enemy ships, all became part of a growing arsenal intended to protect Earth. Word of these developments spread quickly, drawing both supporters and adversaries. Governments wary of losing authority attempted to seize control of the project, deploying agents to infiltrate Marcus's team. Corporate spies tried bribing key members, offering untold wealth in exchange for classified information. Yet Marcus remained vigilant, ensuring strict security measures protected their work. He also emphasized transparency, sharing progress openly with the public to foster trust and accountability. Meanwhile, reports of strange phenomena increased worldwide. Witnesses claimed to see unidentified flying objects hovering near military bases, leaving scorch marks on the ground upon departure. Satellites detected unusual energy signatures emanating from deep space, moving steadily closer to Earth. Though most dismissed these accounts as coincidences or conspiracy theories, Marcus recognized them for what they truly were: the Krylos, fleet approaching undetected. Through the gauntlet, the Luminae confirmed his suspicions. The Krylos were masters of stealth, cloaking their ships to avoid detection until the perfect moment to strike. Their plan involved crippling Earth's infrastructure. First, targeting power grids, communication networks, and transportation systems. Once chaos reigned, they would descend en masse, harvesting resources and enslaving survivors. Time was running out, and Marcus knew humanity needed to act fast. To galvanize support, Marcus organized a global summit unlike any other. Leaders from every nation gathered alongside ordinary citizens, united by a shared purpose. For the first time in history, borders dissolved as representatives worked together to strategize against a common enemy. Plans were drawn up for evacuation routes, emergency shelters, and resistance cells prepared to retaliate. Volunteers trained tirelessly, learning to operate newly developed weapons and defenses. Schools repurposed classrooms into workshops where students assembled drones and repaired damaged equipment. At the heart of it all stood Marcus, inspiring millions with his unwavering determination. He reminded them that humanity's greatest strength lay not in its technology, but in its spirit. "We've faced extinction before," he declared during a televised address. "Floods, plagues, wars. We've survived because we refuse to give up. Now we face another challenge, one that threatens everything we hold dear. But I believe in us. I believe in our ability to rise above fear and hatred, to stand together as one family fighting for a better tomorrow." His words resonated deeply, reigniting a sense of pride and resilience among listeners. People who had once doubted his intentions now rallied behind him, volunteering their skills and resources to aid the cause. Artists painted murals depicting scenes of unity. Musicians composed anthems celebrating bravery. Writers penned stories chronicling humanity's journey toward redemption. Across languages and cultures, a single phrase echoed louder than ever before: "For Earth." Yet even as hope surged, shadows loomed on the horizon. The Krylos fleet drew nearer, their presence detectable only through subtle disturbances in Earth's magnetic field. Weather patterns shifted erratically, causing hurricanes and earthquakes to strike unpredictably. Animals migrated en masse, sensing danger humans couldn't perceive. Tensions escalated as nations debated whether to launch preemptive strikes or wait for confirmation of an attack. Marcus urged patience, knowing rash decisions could lead to disaster. Instead, he focused on strengthening Earth's defenses, coordinating drills and simulations to ensure readiness. Pilots practiced dogfighting maneuvers against simulated alien fighters, while ground troops rehearsed urban warfare tactics. Underground bunkers stocked with food, water, and medical supplies awaited civilians in case of evacuation. Every detail mattered, every second counted. Then came the night that changed everything. As Marcus monitored activity from a command center hidden beneath a mountain, alarms blared suddenly. Sensors detected multiple breaches in Earth's atmosphere, dozens of massive ships decloaking simultaneously. The Krylos had arrived, Panic rippled through the facility as staff scrambled to respond. On monitors, images of the invaders' vessels appeared. Colossal constructs shaped like jagged blades, bristling with cannons and glowing with ominous red lights. Cities below trembled as sonic booms shattered windows and sent shockwaves rippling through streets. Power flickered, plunging entire regions into darkness. Communication lines faltered, isolating pockets of resistance. Amidst the chaos, Marcus felt a surge of resolve. This was the moment he had prepared for, the culmination of months of effort and sacrifice. Turning to his team, he spoke calmly, yet firmly. "This is it. We've trained for this day. Remember why we're here. Not just to survive, but to protect what makes us human. Love, compassion, courage. Let's show them what we're made of." With that, Marcus activated the gauntlet, channeling its full power into a beacon signal broadcast across the planet. Instantly, resistance forces sprang into action, launching coordinated attacks against the descending fleet. Experimental aircraft. The skies above Earth erupted in chaos as the Krylos fleet unleashed its full might. Gigantic star destroyers descended like dark storms, their jagged silhouettes blotting out the sun. Cities crumbled under relentless bombardment. Towering skyscrapers collapsed into rubble and oceans boiled where energy beams struck the surface. The air crackled with electricity, and the ground shook violently as shockwaves rippled outward from each impact. Humanity's fragile world teetered on the brink of annihilation. Amidst the devastation, Marcus Kane stood resolute, his gauntlet glowing brighter than ever before. The Lumini had warned him that this day would come, but nothing could have prepared him for the sheer scale of destruction unfolding around him. Despite the overwhelming odds, Marcus refused to surrender. He was no longer just a man. He was a symbol of hope, a beacon guiding humanity through its darkest hour. Resistance forces launched counterattacks against the Krylos invaders, armed with weapons and technology reverse-engineered from ancient relics and enhanced by the Lumini's designs. Experimental aircraft streaked across the sky, dodging enemy fire while unleashing salvos of plasma missiles. Ground troops deployed energy shields to protect civilians, buying time for evacuations. Ordinary men and women fought alongside trained soldiers, united by a shared determination to defend their home. Marcus himself led daring assaults against the Krylos vessels, piloting an advanced fighter jet equipped with cutting-edge weaponry. His plane darted between enemy ships, evading laser cannons and launching precision strikes at critical systems. Each successful hit brought cheers from the resistance, but Marcus knew they were only scratching the surface. The Krylos fleet was vast, and their firepower unmatched. To turn the tide, they needed to strike at the heart of the invasion, the mothership. Guided by the Lumini through the gauntlet, Marcus learned that the mothership housed the central command center controlling all other ships. If destroyed, it would cripple the Krylos' ability to coordinate attacks, giving humanity a fighting chance. But reaching the mothership wouldn't be easy. It hovered high above Earth's atmosphere, surrounded by layers of defense drones and smaller escorts. Only a suicide mission could penetrate its defenses, a task Marcus volunteered for without hesitation. Assembling a small team of elite pilots and engineers, Marcus briefed them on the plan. They would infiltrate the mothership using cloaked shuttles designed to bypass detection. Once inside, they would sabotage key systems and plant explosives deep within the core. The mission was risky, bordering on impossible, but everyone understood what was at stake. Failure meant extinction. Success offered a slim chance of survival. The operation began under cover of darkness. Cloaked shuttles slipped past the outer perimeter of Krylos fighters, navigating treacherous asteroid fields and evading patrols. Inside one shuttle, Marcus clenched his fists tightly, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Beside him sat Elena, a brilliant engineer who had helped design the prototype weapons now strapped to their belts. Her calm demeanor masked the fear she felt, but her eyes burned with resolve. "We're almost there," she whispered, checking readings on a handheld scanner. "Just stay focused." Moments later, the shuttles docked with the underside of the mothership attaching magnetically to its hull. The team disembarked silently, clad in stealth suits that rendered them nearly invisible. Using tools provided by the Lumini, they cut through thick metal plates, creating an entry point into the ship's labyrinthine interior. As they stepped inside, the oppressive hum of alien machinery filled the air, accompanied by the eerie glow of pulsating lights. Inside the mothership, danger lurked around every corner. Swarms of mechanical drones patrolled narrow corridors, scanning for intruders. Massive guardian creatures roamed freely, their armored bodies bristling with weapons. Traps lined the floors and walls, designed to ensnare anyone foolish enough to venture too far. Yet Marcus and his team pressed onward, guided by blueprints transmitted through the gauntlet. Progress was slow and perilous. At one point, Elena narrowly avoided triggering a pressure-sensitive floor panel, which would have unleashed a cascade of deadly spikes. Another time, Marcus used the gauntlet to disable a drone moments before it detected them. Every step forward required split-second decisions and unwavering focus. Despite the tension, the team maintained communication through encrypted headsets, encouraging each other with quiet words of reassurance. Finally, after what felt like hours, they reached the central chamber housing the mothership's core. Towering over them was a massive crystalline structure, pulsating with raw energy. Thick cables snaked outward, connecting it to various subsystems throughout the vessel. This was the source of the Krylos's power and their greatest vulnerability. "Plant the charges here," Marcus instructed, pointing to specific nodes along the core's base. "We'll need to synchronize the detonation sequence manually to ensure maximum damage." Elena nodded, setting to work while Marcus kept watch. Suddenly, alarms blared, and red lights flashed throughout the chamber. Reinforcements were on their way. Time was running out. "Hurry!" Marcus urged, drawing his weapon as the sound of heavy footsteps echoed closer. "I'm almost done," Elena replied, her hands moving frantically over the control panel. Sweat dripped down her face as she input the final commands. "Got it!" Before they could retreat, however, the doors burst open, revealing a squad of Krylos warriors led by their supreme leader, a grotesque being encased in black armor. Its elongated limbs ended in razor-sharp claws, and its face was obscured behind a mask etched with glowing runes. Telepathic voices boomed inside their minds, filled with malice and hatred. "You dare challenge us?" the leader growled, raising a clawed hand toward Marcus. "You are insignificant." Marcus tightened his grip on the gauntlet, feeling its power surge in response. "Maybe I am," he said firmly, "but I'm not alone." With a roar, the battle erupted. Krylos warriors lunged forward, weapons blazing. Marcus countered with bursts of energy projected from the gauntlet, sending several sprawling to the ground. Elena fired her plasma rifle, taking down others with pinpoint accuracy. Together, they fought valiantly, buying precious seconds for the countdown timer to tick closer to zero. When the Supreme Leader charged directly at Marcus, it became clear that brute force wouldn't be enough. Outmatched physically, Marcus relied on strategy instead. Dodging the creature's attacks, he lured it closer to the core, hoping to use the environment to his advantage. Sparks flew as claws scraped against metal, missing him by inches. Summoning every ounce of strength, Marcus activated the gauntlet's ultimate function, a concentrated blast of pure energy directed straight at the leader. The explosion rocked the chamber, throwing Marcus backward and knocking him unconscious, momentarily. When he came to, smoke filled the air and the core glowed ominously, seconds away from detonation. Dragging himself to his feet, Marcus grabbed Elena and sprinted toward the exit, shouting orders into his headset. "Evacuate now. Core breach imminent." Outside, the remaining shuttles detached from the hull mere moments before the mothership imploded. Fireworks of light lit up the heavens as debris rained down, some pieces burning up upon re-entry while others crashed harmlessly into uninhabited areas. Below, resistance forces cheered wildly, realizing the tide had turned in their favor. Though weakened and scarred, Marcus allowed himself a brief smile. The Krylos fleet began retreating, their coordination shattered without the mothership's guidance. Earth had been saved for now, but the cost had been immense. Millions had perished, cities lay in ruins, and scars would linger for generations. Yet amidst the sorrow, there was hope. Humanity had proven itself capable of rising above despair, of uniting against a common foe, and standing tall among them was Marcus Kane, a man who had once lived quietly by the sea but now carried the weight of the world on his shoulders. As dawn broke over the battered planet, Marcus looked skyward, vowing never to let complacency take hold again. The battle may have ended, but the journey toward a better future had only begun. The aftermath of the battle left Earth forever changed. The skies were clearer now, free from the ominous shadows of the Krylos fleet. But beneath the surface, scars ran deep, both physical and emotional. Cities lay in ruins, their once bustling streets reduced to rubble. Families mourned loved ones lost in the chaos while survivors struggled to rebuild shattered lives. Yet amidst the devastation, something remarkable emerged, a renewed sense of unity and purpose. Marcus Kane stood at the center of it all, hailed as a hero but burdened by the weight of responsibility. He had saved humanity from extinction, yet he knew the fight wasn't truly over. The Krylos might return one day, stronger and more determined than ever. Humanity couldn't afford to let its guard down again. With that thought driving him, Marcus dedicated himself to ensuring Earth would never be caught unprepared. In the weeks following the invasion, governments around the world came together in unprecedented ways. Boundaries dissolved as nations, pooled resources and shared knowledge, working collectively toward recovery and defense. The technology Marcus had introduced became the foundation for a new era of innovation. Factories churned out advanced energy weapons, drones patrolled borders, and satellites monitored space for any signs of alien activity. Schools revamped curriculums to include lessons on interstellar diplomacy and conflict resolution, preparing future generations for the challenges ahead. But perhaps the most profound change was within people themselves. Fear no longer paralyzed them. Instead, it fueled determination. Communities rallied together, supporting each other through hardship. Farmers grew crops using sustainable methods inspired by ancient relics Marcus had uncovered. Artists painted murals celebrating resilience, musicians composed songs honoring bravery, and writers documented humanity's journey toward redemption. For the first time in history, humanity felt connected, not just locally or nationally, but globally. Marcus traveled extensively during this period, visiting every corner of the planet to inspire hope and foster collaboration. In war-torn regions, he helped broker peace agreements between rival factions, reminding leaders that division only weakened them against greater threats. In impoverished areas, he worked alongside volunteers to construct homes, schools, and hospitals powered by renewable energy. Everywhere he went, his presence ignited sparks of possibility, proving that even in darkness, light could prevail. Yet despite the progress, doubts lingered. Some questioned whether humanity deserved such a second chance, pointing to centuries of greed, violence, and environmental destruction. Others worried about the ethics of wielding advanced technology, fearing it might lead to new forms of oppression. Marcus listened patiently to these concerns, understanding their validity. Change wouldn't happen overnight, nor would it come without challenges, but he believed firmly that humanity's capacity for growth outweighed its flaws. To address these fears, Marcus proposed the creation of an international council, tasked with overseeing the responsible use of alien technologies. Comprised of scientists, ethicists, philosophers, and representatives from diverse cultures, the council aimed to ensure decisions benefited everyone equally. Transparency became its guiding principle, with regular updates broadcast worldwide, to maintain public trust. Slowly but surely, skepticism gave way to cautious optimism. Meanwhile, the Lumini remained silent observers, watching from afar as humanity rebuilt itself. Through the gauntlet, they occasionally communicated with Marcus, expressing pride in what he, and by extension Earth, had achieved. "You have proven yourselves worthy," they said during one such exchange. "Your courage and ingenuity remind us why we chose to intervene. Continue down this path and you will thrive." Though grateful for their guidance, Marcus couldn't help feeling a pang of sadness knowing the Lumini would likely never return. Their departure marked the end of an extraordinary chapter in human history, leaving behind questions about their true nature and motives. Were they saviors, manipulators, or simply watchers fulfilling a cosmic duty? Marcus didn't know, nor did he dwell on it. What mattered was what humanity did next. As months turned into years, Earth transformed in ways few could have imagined. Ruined cities rose anew, designed with sustainability and inclusivity in mind. Floating platforms harvested solar energy above oceans, providing clean power to remote regions. Underground bunkers converted into thriving communities shielded from potential future threats. Space exploration flourished, driven by dreams of discovering allies among the stars. Humanity had taken its first steps toward becoming not just a planetary species but an interstellar one. For Marcus, life settled into a quieter rhythm. Though still revered as a symbol of hope, he preferred staying out of the spotlight, choosing instead to live humbly near Willow Bay. The small coastal town had grown significantly since his heroic act years ago, attracting visitors eager to glimpse the place where it all began. Fishermen continued casting nets into the sea, children played on sandy beaches, and families gathered under umbrellas for picnics. Life moved forward, carrying both scars and triumphs. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Marcus walked along the familiar shoreline. The teardrop-shaped device Elias had given him rested safely in his pocket, a reminder of how far he'd come. Beside him walked Elena, who had become not just his closest confidant but also his partner in rebuilding Earth. Together, they watched waves crash against jagged rocks, listening to the rhythmic song of the ocean. "You've done so much," Elena said softly, breaking the silence. "Do you ever wonder what comes next?" Marcus smiled faintly, gazing at the horizon. "Every day," he admitted. "But I think the real question is what we do next. This isn't my story anymore, it belongs to everyone." Elena nodded, her eyes reflecting the fading sunlight. "And if the Krylos come back?" "They won't find us unprepared," Marcus replied firmly. "We've learned our lesson. No matter what happens, we'll face it together." Far above them, unseen by human eyes, a shimmering spacecraft hovered momentarily before vanishing into the void. Inside, the Lumini observed silently, their luminous forms glowing faintly. They had fulfilled their mission, planting seeds of hope that would grow into something extraordinary. For now, they would retreat, content in the knowledge that humanity's destiny rested securely in its own hands. Back on Earth, the night sky sparkled with countless stars, each one a reminder of infinite possibilities. Beneath them, Marcus and Elena stood side by side, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. Humanity had stared into the abyss and emerged stronger, united not by fear, but by love. For their planet, for each other, and for the boundless potential within themselves. And so, the story of Marcus Kane came full circle, not as an ending but as a beginning. A testament to the indomitable spirit of those who dared to defy the odds, to dream beyond limits, and to believe in a brighter tomorrow.